Hi, boys and girls. We are finishing up here. We just have a couple more things to do, and this is one of our last reading videos together. Oh my goodness. So you need your activity book and your reader, and you're going to open up to pausing point 1, which is at the back of your activity book. Pausing point 1 at the top, and it's on page 183 of your book. So pause the video if you need to get your activity book and your reader, and then come on back. So for chapter 9, we're gonna be reading chapter 9, and again, I will read it to you if you prefer, or you can try it yourself if you want a little challenge. So you're going to use this reading guide on pausing point 1. It's 2 pages. I've already given you the page numbers where you can find the answers to the questions. So you just need to write the answers to the questions neatly, please. So as we read, I will remind you when it's time to look for one of your answers. And there's 2 sides. So make sure that you answer all questions. Make sure that you write down the page numbers. So number 1 is found on page 98. Number 2 is also found on page 98. Number 3 is page 102. And if anybody knows how to pronounce that word, I would love to know because I'm not so sure. Number 4 is found on page 104. Number 5 is 106. Number 6 is also 106. Number 7 is on page 108. Notice 6 and 7, they give you several lines. So that tells me that you're not going to have a one-word answer for those questions. Number 8 is on page 110. And number 9 says write the main idea of this chapter. So you are writing what the main idea is of the chapter. And I must have added the page in twice. There we go. All right, chapter 9, this starts on page 98 of your reader. It's called Light and Photography. Say that with me, photography, photography. See the word photo in there? We're going to learn what that means. The word photography comes from 2 Greek words. Photo means light, and graphene means to draw. So you might say that photography means to draw with light. The earliest ideas for making pictures using light came in the 4th century BC from a Greek man named Aristotle. He observed and made notes about how light acts. The first person to put Aristotle's ideas into practice was an Arab scientist, Al-Hazen, around 1000 AD. He made the first pinhole camera. It was a box with a small hole in one side. Light from the outside came through this little hole and projected an image on the opposite side of the box. Al-Hazen used it to help him draw. His camera did not take photographs as we know them today. Others continued to experiment with and improve pinhole cameras. So on this page, you can get the definition of photography and learn what a pinhole camera is and write your answers. You can pause the video and write the answers to your questions. Even today, some people still enjoy making their own simple pinhole cameras. So let's go back to the pictures here. There's Al-Hazen, Aristotle, a statue of Aristotle. And you can see down at the bottom that picture is showing us how pinhole cameras work. They don't have lenses. There's a small hole on one side of the box that lets light into the box after a figure is projected on the opposite side of the box. The first thing similar to a photograph was made in 1826 by a Frenchman named Joseph Niepce. He invented what were called heliographs. Helio is the root word for sun. He used sunlight to create images. The sunlight mixed with a form of coal and some other natural chemicals on a square glass plate to make an image. It took 8 hours in the sunlight before the image appeared. Then it faded. There's Joseph Niepce. Another Frenchman named Louis Daguerre took Niepce's ideas and improved them. He was able to use light to create an image in less than 30 minutes. His images were called daguerreotypes, named for their inventor. Daguerreotypes used light-sensitive chemicals like silver and iodine to make an image on a metal plate. These became popular around the world. I'm going to have to look that word up to see how it's pronounced. There's Louis Daguerre, and there's a daguerreotype of a young woman, so that's his version of a photograph there. The late 1800s brought even more improvements to photography thanks to some very creative inventors. One such inventor was the American George Eastman. In 1888, he invented flexible rolled film that could replace the glass plates that were used in earlier cameras. The invention of film led to the creation of the box camera, which was a tight box with a simple lens. The camera had film that could take as many as 100 photos. People could take photos and then send the camera back to Eastman's company to print the photos. The company then sent both the photos and camera back to you. Ask to see your family's older photo album. Chances are that some of the much older photos may have been taken with a box camera. Color films were not invented until the late 1930s and early 1940s. By then, most families owned at least one camera, and photo albums became a common household item. Cameras improved at a fast rate around the 1950s. Instant photography was invented by Edwin Land, who sold his first camera in 1948. With his camera, 1 minute after you took the photo, you would have a fully developed photograph from the camera. These cameras were popular because people did not have to wait to get their photos. They had them right after they shot the photo with their camera. Maybe you have one of those at home right now. I think they kind of made a comeback. Chances are that if you or your family has a camera now, it is a digital camera. Digital cameras do not use film like the early cameras described previously. Digital cameras have a special computer chip that takes the place of film. In fact, many cell phones now also have digital cameras. Imagine how amazed the early inventors would be to see all of the cameras we have today. So make sure that you answer all your questions and submit both sides of your paper to Schoology. And this is one of the last reading assignments you'll be submitting to me. So make it a good one. Write neatly, answer all the questions. Bye, guys.